just go.
Good morning.
Morning.
And there's no place I'd rather be.
Oh.
Aw.
Click your heels together 3 times.
Click your heels together 3 times, and then you can find yourself at Epoch's doorstep so you can shovel his snow.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm glad I don't have to do that.
I gotta rest up. I'm supposed to go down to Miami tomorrow. There's supposedly a huge Cardano event Friday night.
What is it?
It's called the Cardano Solution.
Wow. Okay. It goes in so many different ways. Did he explain what it was? Is there a promo for it or something?
Yeah, no. Apparently, it's a really popular event that's been going on for a while. I'll try to post some info.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know, San Diego's doing a CNFT con this weekend, and I'm contemplating going. But I think they're not getting the amount of people that they thought, because right now there's a half price ticket code that's out. So it's interesting. Let's see. Macy Gray's supposed to be there, though. So
Blockjock's going to be there. What else do you need?
yep, I'm going to bring the wifey. We were talking about it. So, be an introduction. And now she is finally starting to activate with her art. She's been an artist for a long time. And I think Vanya, Cotton Babo's wife, Vanya, is kind of giving her the bug again. So I love it.
They're bad influences.
Right, I know. Depends on where it takes you, right? I mean, geez.
Next thing, your wife is going to be sitting in these Twitter spaces with you talking about the NFT project. I see it. It's coming.
It's a possibility. She was in a space the other day. You know, the one where they do the poetry and they play music and stuff like that. It's a really cool space. I think Flawed does it. Yeah, it's Flawed that does it. She was in there for a minute. She's like, those people are really nice. I like them. It's super freaking artistic. I'm like, yeah, we got a lot of them.
Everybody, there is a damn Australian in here. He's probably got. Just be careful, as I'm going to tell you. It's like there's aliens running around. Just be careful.
Do they bite? Should I?
Maybe if you ask them, I don't know.
Yeah.
Lighto.
Yo.
What did I miss as I slept all day yesterday? Well, I didn't sleep all day. I only slept for a couple hours.
Well, Big Joe was in the house, and they tried to turn this into freaking Stoner's Club. And I had to keep reminding them, guys, this is Cardano Over Coffee.
Yeah, we drink coffee. We don't smoke weed. Well, I'm sure there's lots of people that do.
Yeah, there might be a little Kahlua in the coffee, but
not
for me.
We might put some glue in our coffee, but
I hope you're not. I don't know. Do people combine caffeine and THC? That seems.
Oh yeah, there's a drink out. There's cannabis drinks that are already out. I think they're in Canada only, though. So.
Listen, there is weed that you can smoke that gives you energy. Don't ask the fireman how he knows this shit.
Just sativa, baby, sativa. I learned that from my kid. I didn't even know that either. And I smoked weed for most of my young life.
Yeah, different kinds do different things to you, Lighto. Like, you need some energy, go smoke some weed.
Yeah, anyways, so we reined that in. We reined that in. Reese came on, talked about his
staking
proposal.
Yeah. How's it going? I missed it, so everything seemed kosher.
I just need to know who was the one talking about smoking weed before I got here. I just heard weed. And I was like, wow. All right.
It was Lido. Lido's doing bong hits on Cardano Over Coffee. I mean, he's gone crazy.
Well, now
you guys have totally.
Now I know it's Blockjock.
No, that was over 30 years, almost 30 years ago now. I kept waking up in handcuffs. It wasn't a good thing.
Blockjock's my sober friend. I like him.
Nice.
I
Fun
That's
don't think I
right.
have many of them.
fun fact. I did other web stuff for oh, what's that name? Oh crap! Helping Hands. Out in Colorado, they are an organic premium um weed joint. They do their own seeds and everything. And so I could get these things for like 10 cents or penny because I guess they're not allowed to give it out for free. And these were things where they will sell like the pre-roll, like one roll for $12 basically. And I never bought one until I quit.
Terrible. So you got like a reward account that I could dip into? Because I could swing by.
Right?
I'm here for
missed
Lito's
out on that.
marijuanas. Put it in the bag.
Marijuanas.
Joe, you didn't even say anything. You just came up and see what you did.
I mean, that's exactly what happened yesterday. Hero, I was just trying to help. Lido needed a co-host, and I didn't even say nothing. But then, like, people start acting all high and stuff all the time around me. I don't know why.
They're trying to,
You don't
imitate the
know why,
tone.
Big Joe. You really don't know why.
I
Oh,
mean,
he knows why. He's not dumb. Big Joe ain't
Jumped
dumb.
in and gave everybody a contact high. That's what happened. You just got to stand around him in your high. I mean, I'll be looking for you over at the Rare Bloom, man. It's the only way I'm getting it done these days.
Oh man, Darth, what up, my friend? Are you
What's
drunk?
going on, buddy? Yeah, it's 30 a.m. over here.
Yeah, because
Just
you're never here unless you're drunk. So
yeah, I know it's how it works, unfortunately.
that's all right. I appreciate
I
it.
like it. I appreciate you.
Or I'm drinking coffee when you guys are drinking beers.
Yeah, it's either or. I
It's
remember
basically Cardano over beers for me.
the first Cardano over coffee, like way back
Whiskey.
when you showed up, and I don't think I haven't laughed this hard since.
Dude, I still think about that.
I wish I
think-
remembered it. It sounds like it was a good time.
It was, and you were really drunk, my friend.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. I will also never forget that moment because it was also at the advent of Twitter Spaces. So no one really
Before
knew.
recording.
Yeah, before recordings, no one knew what was going on, and I'm pretty sure you were in the pisser. You were literally. Maybe I made this up and embellished the memory, but I recall you stumbling into the space, thinking it was just me and Hero. There's 100 people listening, and we just let you go on and on. You were piss drunk, being fucking Cardano, and I'm taking a piss, the bloody wankers, and you just we're going on and on. I was just I need to be friends with this man forever.
Seems right.
That's probably before I knew how to work the microphone as well.
Yes,
Yeah, you were
absolutely.
there was no mute. You were unmuted the whole time. It was perfect.
I think I remember Hero teaching me to press the mute button when I'm not speaking.
Oh, my friend. So I'm gonna plug him real quick. He has this NFT project coming up, Flat Mars, and when it's dropping, he needs to come talk about it. But check it out because my boy Darth is the meme lord. So support him.
Yeah, I won't shill
Very
it
nice.
now, but yeah, it's coming. But on the topic of beverages, Vitalik Buterin drinks green tea with red wine. Bullish
I
on
saw
Cardano.
that. 85% red wine, 15% tea. I want to know if he measures that shit.
He definitely does.
That's a weird ass spritzer. Okay, I don't even know.
Someone sent me that yesterday with a message that just said, "My net worth is being led by a psychopath," and that was the tweet that was linked.
I missed this.
That's the first time he swapped something without a fucking massive transaction fee.
Well, good.
It's just a good thing it didn't get lost.
Maybe it's like Ethereum, 75% transaction, 25% fee. It's and then soon he'll go on to full red wine.
And then 10% goes to Vitalik's personal account, so you end up with a 15 anyway.
%. That's definitely what's happening. That's what he's thinking about when he pours his tea. that 15%'s just fucking fuck Charles Hoskinson. That's what we were talking
That's
about.
exactly what it is. Fuck Charles Hoskinson.
Because that was that meme of him on a bike that started the Darth Vader account.
Wow.
Wait, can you
The fuck
twin?
Charles Hoskinson.
Can you pin to the top your first tweet?
I don't know how to do that.
What did
I don't know how to do that
walk
either.
in on? What blasphemy am I hearing right now?
Sorry.
My friend Darth, he's a little drunk, probably.
He also hurts his children. It's a problem, but we're getting him help, and the Force is with him still.
I did cut one kid's arm off. He was my son though.
I don't even know how to respond to something like that.
Usually a loud, long screaming no.
Is that how it goes? Fuck.
I know how he feels now though. Like Darth Vader. Like it's only recently I've had to wear a fucking mask all day with everything I do. So yeah, I get him now. I know why he was so pissed off.
They still have you doing that shit over there in New Zealand?
At supermarkets or basically wherever you go out, they've just been overruled by the court, so they can't track where you're going. But yeah, you still have to wear a mask most places.
Someday, I hope the dark side overtakes them and freedom is returned.
Yeah, I'm in Colorado, and I definitely feel like the vast majority of people have thrown in the towel at this point. They're like, give me the COVID. I already have it. It's fine.
What's up, Crypto King?
Guys, I wanted to ask, how do you make that drink? Do you do the tea inside the wine, or do you put the wine in the... How?
Tweet it, Vitalik, man. Ask him, because I don't get it.
Or is it simultaneous?
You put the tea bag in the wine.
No, you can't. You can't do volumetrics that way. You have to make the green tea separate. If you ask me.
You heat the wine up and then you put the green tea in it.
Oh God, Vitalik would do it that way. My God, just some people want to watch it burn.
Hey, watch the burning jokes.
The Bernie jokes. I'm sorry, I don't want to trigger.
What's
anyone.
wrong with the Bernie jokes? I don't know.
Burning.
Burning. Sorry.
Oh, Madoff. Bernie Madoff? Yeah.
No.
Perfect name for somebody doing
Darth is here, and you're talking about Jesus.
See, I'm going to blame Cardano Robin for starting this. He had to ask.
I'm the perfect scapegoat too. This is entirely out of my depth, so carry on.
Fire starter.
Get back here, Lido.
Big Joe, what up?
I mean, I'm high and I don't know what the hell's going on right here, but I mean, I'm happy to be here though, because it's not too many times that I'm up here with a bunch of speakers that were in Cardano before I ever was. So I'm feeling pretty happy. I'm just trying to learn.
Mate, I was at a bar with Charles Hoskinson and I spat him the idea and then he whisked it up without me, man. He cut me out, unfortunately.
He's high as fuck right now, Joe.
I wanted to call it Vader and then he just dropped the V and made it Ada.
Damn.
He started his own company. Oh, fucking. It happens to the best of us, but oh well. I'll help him out. Still shooting for him.
I just realized, because of that comment, that when we grilled the Wi-Fi person, I was actually incorrect yesterday. When I asked him what is the namesake of ADA, and he stuttered. Fuck, it was Veda, not
Wow.
Ada Lovelace. Yeah, it was wild.
He's like a robot, I mean, it seems like he can answer anything at any time. It's weird.
Right? Dude, that guy, what is it, Steven? He can literally take any question and somehow make it sound good, even if he did not answer the question remotely.
Yep. He's pretty good at
That's
that. He's a
government.
used car salesman, is the way. As soon as I saw him and heard him speak, he was a used car salesman, and I had to get over that in order to actually feel like I could buy into the project.
I feel like it's worse than that because he's also hedge fund smart. So like he's like a car salesman with the brain of a hedge fund owner. So it's like
Yeah, with hedge fund money.
it's real weird. It was highly
Yeah.
effective.
All
I had a
I
boss
think-
like him, and he had like.
I just want to tell you that very smart hedge fund manager has made me a ton of money so far.
Is he the marketing guy too? Because it's not always the devs like talking in the channel.
No,
sometimes
they don't
sometimes
let
it's
them-
the front man.
There's Jack. That he's really the back end guy, or the guy who's handling.
What? They
Most
don't let
of
any of the devs talk. I haven't talked to a single Wi-Fi dev.
I think it's Jack Ward. If you look on the mod side, you'll see he's like him and Stephen Ward are at the top, and then there's the other ones, I think.
It's hard when you're on the spot too. Sometimes I don't know. I've used their platform to stake. It's pretty awesome. I like how the reward trick over because I'm a bit fucking weird. I'll just watch it. Like
Yeah.
you must.
The only problem with that is that
It's
they
working.
are pulling all of the APY that you're getting out of their treasury right now. So they're basically draining their treasury. There is no. Rand asked him about it last time they talked to him, and it was like a beautiful question, and he had to answer it honestly, and he did, which is good. But yeah, they're not.
Yeah, I don't know enough to comment, but doesn't Cardano in a sense do that from their rewards? But obviously it's quite calculated with
Exactly.
its fees going back, but it's a
Doesn't
similar
the
thing.
fee roll back in to regenerate that? I mean, as far as the transactions and stuff?
Eventually, but right now I think the staking rewards would outweigh the fees. I certainly don't pay more fees than I stake with. I guess it would.
Right.
It relies on mass adoption.
Wait, how many months can they keep that up for? Did anybody ask?
I don't know. There is a sunset for it because they've talked about it, right?
Nobody asked, and anytime somebody asks, the answer goes back to how excellent of a hedge fund manager he was.
Yeah, but I did tease out of him
with Wi-Fi.
that his dad is the lead data scientist. So there's a little nepotism. If
That
nothing
was
else.
very new information, Epoch. I don't think that's ever been said ever before. So perhaps I'm
Boom.
getting that.
Yep.
So he was on COC yesterday.
No, he was on bullish. He was on Dumpling Space.
Ah, damn it.
That was rough.
So did it go as well as the Cardano over coffee space? I know Epoch grilled the shit out of him, and he had an answer for everything, fella.
All I could say is I believe in what Wi-Fi is doing. I've been involved since the beginning.
Until a project
So all
is
this
live.
bad shit that Epoch is saying can go to no. I'm gonna even the conversation out, right? What
He's
they're
got a
doing
short.
is innovative, right? And
No,
I know
no.
Blue Collar can probably answer more questions than I can because he's way more involved than me.
I think what Hero just volunteered is for us to grill him. Go ahead, Blue Collar.
Definitely not new information about his father. That's been I remember discussing it with him. It's been over a year now, probably last March. His dad is also one of the well-respected leading data scientists in AI. I had a bunch of stuff on his dad, but his dad's pretty well respected in that field, so it kind of meshed well together. His mom is also on the team, and his mom has a PhD that specializes something in writing online course curriculum. So his mom is helping a lot with the online education portion of it. It's kind of a family affair. Jack is not related. He's not a dev or a back end guy. They're devs they hired out, more or less. They have them exclusively working on the team, but they hired them from Imagine AI. So it was, Steven knows he's not a dev and needed to hire devs, and Haskell and Plutus devs, especially last March and February when they were looking, were pretty hard to find. And so they went with Imagine AI, who have apparently a ton in that space and have them working on it full time. The project was debated on being launched on Ethereum a couple years ago. Not a couple years ago. Well, I guess it has been now, a little over a year ago. And then it was moved to Cardano, like last January, February, is when they decided to start exploring on Cardano because of some of the devs from Imagine AI that kind of pushed them over that way. So that was just my 2 cents on it. A lot of the stuff that people say is new information or stuff like that is just
New to them.
yeah, it's not super well informed. I've been in their Discord and Telegram since, like I said, like last January or February or something. And back then it was like 50 of us, and there was a lot more of this. A lot easier to see this information, obviously, than it is now that they have like 20,000 in their Twitter and stuff like that. It gets harder to find that information sometimes, but it is out there, and yeah. That's just my 2 cents on it. I'm not.
So have they given a project date, a project launch date or anything like that, or a roadmap having to do with when they're going to launch?
So
Dex in June.
Well, maybe
right?
not.
May, but then he also said maybe June, right? That's what he said on
maybe later than that. Because they could launch in June, but they're actually working directly with Hydra. From what I understand, and it's not really being like publicized or anything like that because I don't know, but some of their devs are working basically very closely and on the team with Hydra, some Hydra devs in developing Hydra together, and they may launch with Hydra, may wait to launch with Hydra. They had some meetings and stuff with Hydra planned and workshops and stuff like that, but June was when they were planning on launching, but it may be pushed to launch at the same time with Hydra if some things work out with that.
So we have one of our devs.
Wait, Black Guy. So
Mute
you interrupted one.
On dev.
Let's go with the hands.
Oh, sorry.
We have hands up.
All right. I mean, I was just doing a follow-up question to the project launch is all I was doing, Light. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go TCT. And
It was actually Epoch first, but I'll happily steal his spot. Yeah, I would just point out also, right, that Wi-Fi seems to have plenty of money, plenty of knowledgeable finance leads, right? But that is not rare, right? There's plenty of people with plenty of money to hire Imagine, M Labs, all of that. There's plenty of hedge fund manager and traditional money market managers, right? And they can probably build a great product. But will it be Web3? Will it be non-custodial? Will it feed back into the ecosystem? Or will it be designed like a traditional hedge fund or money management firm? So that's what I would just keep my eye on. And that's what I kind of keep in mind when I'm looking at all these new projects.
Get all the yield.
Epoch, what were you gonna add?
Yeah, I mean, I think TCT said a lot of good stuff there that I agree with. I think at the end of the day, like, I just don't, not a lot is proven yet. Like saying they're partnering with Hydra, like, I don't really even know what that means. This shit's decentralized anyway. Like at the end of the day, we'll be running Hydra's nodes just as easily as anyone else. So like, I don't know what to think about Wi-Fi, honestly. But you should all like at least think about. There's lots of things that will make money, and there's a lot of opportunities in the space, right? There's a lot of volatility, right? This is the most volatile space that I know of, that I participate in, and that means that if there's volatility, there's opportunity to kind of make money, right? And there are some people who are addicted to that type of opportunity, right? And that's kind of really what I heard from this guy was like, I see opportunity, I see value. And I'm not talking about Hero, I was talking about Steven. He was saying like, look, there's this Cardano community, it's coming up, and like he sees what we see in the value of the ecosystem, and he's trying to capitalize on it. So that's definitely
Isn't everybody in this room doing exactly that?
Oh, totally.
Hero.
No, totally. We all are doing that, right? But I think there's not everyone who wants to is going to succeed.
I say 99% aren't going to succeed. So,
and I would agree with that, right? And like at the end of the day, if we're talking AI products are hard to build. Like this is why I'm not super bullish on like AGI and all that stuff. Is that like I've tried to build AI products and it's not so easy as like let me fucking turn on my neural network. It's like let me compare a neural network to a deep neural network to a random forest to the 5 other methods to actually do AI. And then maybe you're wrong on one case and right on another and you need a different technology. So like nothing here is easy and nothing here is proven to work either. So like hiring a bunch of AI devs when you're trying to solve blockchain problems, like it's not the same.
I just want to add when Epoch say I've done AI stuff, Epoch, and I cannot confirm or deny this for sure, but I'm pretty sure he has a supercomputer in his garage. Go ahead, Crypto King.
You have a supercomputer in your garage? Cool. Yeah, cool. You know, I was thinking, you know, since the ADA swap thing, are the premier products that are coming out now in the DeFi space on Cardano not what we were expecting type deal? Like ADA swap could, after the bullish dumping space, in my opinion, straight up just be a rug pull. But Wi-Fi doesn't seem that on point because they haven't got any core founding tech guys, right? And in a DeFi thing, one of the biggest pillars right there would be your tech. And if they're outsourcing all that, I don't know how much credibility I should be giving them. What do you guys think? Am I blowing this out of proportion or am I onto something?
I think you blew the first part out of proportion. Just for like, my expectations, right? Like there's going to be a lot of scams and rug pulls, and there's also unintentional scams, right? Like we have to define the word scam for people to know what we're saying. And like, I don't know if you count, people who get in over their head and promise more than they can deliver, right? Like to me, that's also a scam. So there's a lot of folks who are just have great ideas and they could execute on them.
That's such a crypto version of a scam. That's a failure. That is a business failure. That's
Correct.
not.
Let's go.
Let's get a black. Oh,
I agree there. I think scam's a little bit of a strong word, but I definitely agree that in crypto, a lot of people pitch pipe dreams, and it's very easy to raise money on dreams before you even know you can execute, and that's why you see a lot of those failures. Yeah. And those people raise a big bag of money before they actually have to build anything, and then they're like, why build?
Here's the thing. If you're promising something without having anything, doesn't that mean you're a scam at that point? Unless you're saying, hey, listen, I know I ain't got shit, but if you give me your money, there's a probability I might have shit, but I don't think they're coming out with that.
Here's my thought on that, right? Microsoft promises me all kinds of shit that doesn't work. Is Microsoft a scam?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll say so. Go ahead, Blackjack.
I feel like Wi-Fi goes big. Steven goes big because that's the way he thinks, but at the same time, he can't create anything, right? I think the same way when I vibe with him on that because I'm like, go for pie in the sky. But then I talk to my dad and I'm like, don't go pie in the sky, right? And it's not easy putting all those things together. And Rand and Epoch are right. I mean, you're using the word Hydra to create fervor around a product. And I personally think that it's actually a hindrance, not a positive for them, because ultimately we're talking about Hydra, and when they come out with it, it's not going to be Hydra like all these big heads doing all this stuff, right? It's going to be baby Hydra in the beginning. They've already mentioned that like 2 months ago. And in talking to our consultant PG on AI, because that's what he does for a living, ultimately it's going to be a minute, and he's part of the dev team, as part of the dev net for that in the beginning. And he doesn't tell us everything because he can't, but it's going to be a minute for that. So if he's relying on that, Steven is, I'd say it's not going to be June, more than likely. It might be October, something like that.
So we do have a guest today. I don't see them in the room.
I DM him. He hasn't responded yet. I sent him the link to the show, so hopefully he hops on.
We'll just
I
continue,
was
and
yeah
then if they show up, and
yeah
then if they show up, then
we'll
we can
shut it down.
we can kind of
Bef-
transition. Blue collar, you were first, and then Rare, and then Rand.
Before we go to blue collar, I just want to say if anybody wants to create some favor around me, I will not be opposed to that. Go ahead, blue collar.
No, I was just gonna say with the Hydra thing, like I'm not trying to say it's like they're like partners with Hydra or anything like that. I think it just makes sense for Hydra and for Wi-Fi because from what I understand, their neural net and auto harvester is going to be some pretty hefty sized loads on the chain. And I may be describing that wrong because I'm a potato, but with Hydra they can kind of Hydra working with them can play around with their stuff and help work out kinks, problems, stuff from the Hydra point, and Wi-Fi at the same time can make adjustments, work out kinks and stuff from their point. And yeah, Blackjack, you are correct that it's going to be a while, and that's why I think if they do work directly, like try to roll out with Hydra, it is going to be after June. And Steven's spoken on that as well. I think he just last week or a few days ago, Pete put out another video where Steven's talking about that in there. As far as the Hydra deal, if they do something with them, then it'll push it back.
It's Learn Cardano podcast. They do talk about it because I watched the podcast the other day.
Hydra doesn't do that whole auto harvester thing because it's just between two people, right? It's not between the whole blockchain and your Hydra head. But let's go to Rare Bloom.
The whole Wi-Fi thing is interesting to me. I think they're very good at marketing. They're very good at like riling up the community with all the keywords of whatever's being talked about at the time. I kind of think they're like shotgun approach to just covering like all the hot keywords of NFTs and AI and yield aggregator and Launchpad. I mean, they literally are just trying to do it all. It really scares me with the lack of information and depth given to any of that. I'm also afraid of like when you talk about AI and AI harvesting, like these are smart contract harvests that are going to be done. Like there's no AI needed for that. And when it comes to AI investing your capital or treasury funds and making those decisions, I think I don't want somebody's AI, which I put in quotes because really all it is a contract that a human has to write. I don't want that learning off of my funds. So like there's a lot of deep, in-depth questions of how this AI is going to learn within DeFi when financial decisions are changing all the time. And I just think there's a lot of like hot air words thrown from them that scare me a bit.
Yeah, I see those same words being thrown by other people though.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. I'm not saying nobody else does it. I'm just saying they're doing a really good job of it. When I first checked it out, their white paper was literally blank with definitions and stuff. And I just don't think that's the proper way to launch a real business. I will say this to that effect. What we're doing, we will have tokenomics out by the end of next week, and we're not asking anybody to do anything until we release lots of in-depth paperwork on what we're building. And that's the difference.
100%. Like that is definitely something that should be done if you want people to invest in you. It's just the truth of the matter.
So our speaker is here, so I'm gonna give one more point to the person who hasn't spoken yet, and then we'll move on to our speaker. We can return to the conversation afterwards. If we're all still dying to talk about AI and auto harvesting, legal technology services. You get the last word.
Well, thank you, Lido. I'm actually the speaker, so if you want to defer this to somebody else, I'm totally okay with that.
Nope. I think that is excellent.
You only had one wrong choice, Lido.
Well, I appreciate it, but other people are there, and I'm gonna have my time, so that's totally okay.
No,
if you want to hand it to
5
somebody
minutes
else.
over. We can move on. Let's go. Let's go to your presentation. Go ahead and tell us who you are and how you came to be in Cardano and what you came to share with us today.
Cool. All right. Firstly, thank you very much to everybody who organizes Cardano Over Coffee. It was my first intro, a recommendation from Kat Machin last year, and it's been incredibly helpful in me getting to grips with what Cardano can do. My name is Les Allen. I've occasionally been in channel previously under my personal handle. Today I'm now under the official work channel.
I thought I recognized your voice, Les. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Well, I thought if I'm going to be shilling the company, it's actually time for the company to have an online presence. Hence that. I did drop a mail to both you and Lido as well to let you know that I am there, but you guys are focused on this. That's cool. So for everybody's edification and background, and also very nice to hear some Australian slang in the channel more often. So my background is I am Australian. I've lived in South Africa now for coming up to 20 years in September. My background is in the tech space, and I spent a whole bunch of time as an evangelist effectively for a business intelligence software. So my job was to go around the world and show people what was possible when it came to the reports that they would run out of their system. So I used to teach Excel, used to hold seminars, online webinars, etc. So my basic background is a whole lot of tech, and for the last few years, I've been specializing in business development for startup companies. So I've got an association with an animation company, which will be relevant a little later. And the new startup that I'm part of, we've been brewing for the last 18 months, and this is where the Cardano focus comes into. Legal Technology Services is specializing in redefining what it means to have a contract for what is called a performance-based earner. Now, when we say performance-based earner, anybody who earns commission could be considered a performance-based earner, but in particular, we're talking about people who actually live on the money that their performance generates. So we're talking musicians, we're talking sports people, we're talking potentially writers, etc. We have created a company based around two active proof of concepts that we're working on, and I'm going to share with you our Project Catalyst proposal. So, and this is part of the reason why the Cardano Over Coffee team has been gracious enough to let me come in and spruik. We have a funding application. It is very important to note our business will run whether we are funded or not. When you hear the value propositions that we put forward, you will probably understand a bit more. I'm here to show you that we are an active business anyway, so we will be moving on independent of the funding. The funding will just help. So our two proof of concept cases. And I do apologize. Some of this may sound like hyperbole. For those of you who are familiar with South Africa or the African continent doing business here, it won't be so much hyperbole, but there's a problem doing business in Africa, perceived problem and actual problem of graft and corruption when it comes to doing business. One group in particular who are currently being affected by this are South African musicians. If you are a musician in South Africa and you have a successful song, even a semi-successful song, there are 4 separate agencies that you need to deal with in order to claim back any royalties that might be due to you. And the major one that's responsible for radio broadcasting, they only pay out once a year. Now, wherever you happen to be in the world, whatever salary you're on, you might get paid weekly, you might get paid every 2 weeks, you might get paid monthly. In South Africa, South Africans get paid monthly, which can be a bit of an issue because that means your rent's got to be paid monthly. You've got to buy your groceries for the month. South African musicians, if they only live on their royalties, get paid once a year. The organization that is responsible, that has the, and I'm using air quotes, a mandate to collect these royalties, only pays out generally once a year because they need to take their cut first. As an act of parliament, they're allowed to take up to 20% up to 20% of all the royalties for their own administration fees before they disperse the rest of the money out. The global average is 7%. Last year, they topped out at 19.84%. We can give you the links to that for their annual report. They're actually going to be releasing their next annual report probably in about 6 weeks' time. What we see here is our first proof of concept, and the good news is we've actually signed our first artist. Well, we've come to an agreement with our first artist. I'm still waiting the legal documents to come back to me. What we will be doing is we will be implementing smart contracts for South African musicians to handle their royalties on an automatic basis. Coming from a business intelligence background, one of the big things that I had to explain to people is the moment that you have a manual process in any report creation, you're open to errors. As a nerd, I can type 80, 90 words a minute. My accuracy is 99%. But when you're dealing with financial documents, a decimal point in the wrong spot is a big issue. And it doesn't matter how good you are, if you get tired, mistakes are going to come. The current system takes a year because they only wait to the end of the year to do the manual calculations as to which South African artists get what. So part of our proof of concept is we would like to ramp that down to eventually get to a monthly cycle like everybody else gets paid in this country. So that is our first proof of concept. Now, we're going to be doing this regardless. And if you go and check out our socials, if you go and check out our website, there's not a lot there. The company was officially registered last year. And part of the reason is that we've been operating in stealth mode. And this is where the hyperbole comes in. When you are dealing with an organization that can enrich itself to the tune of hundreds of millions of rand, for those, the easiest thing would just be to convert it by 15 to get a US dollar amount. The main agency that is responsible for the disbursement of money is currently sitting on over 500 million rand in the bank account. The procedure is that you need to go and claim from them. They don't come to you and say, we know there's money for you. You have to be a member and you have to go to them to get it. Now, we don't think that's right. And this is where the hyperbole comes in. Because we're dealing with hundreds of millions of rands and salaries for executives, etc., and when the time comes, we can make those business cases. We don't believe that that is right. So regardless of whether we get funding in this round or not, we're still going ahead with our business model. The funding will just help. So our aim for our first proof of concept is to be able to demonstrate that we can get money back for musicians, put the musician on a smart contract, and provide them with automated updates every month about when their song was played, where it was played, and what their accurate percentage share is, and run that through a smart contract. Now, smart contracts not necessarily paying out in fiat if they want to be paid in any sort of crypto, and we would encourage ADA. There is a business case to be made further on about helping partner with another staking pool. A lot of South African musicians don't have medical aid, they don't have funeral cover, those sorts of things. The returns that can be made from just a staking pool can actually go a long way to helping low-level musician earners get that sort of support and encouragement. So we would be enacting a smart contract, take the data in, calculate your royalty percentage, and then pay that out until we get such time as a central bank digital currency that can be easily converted. We would be paying out in their choice of crypto, or we would then do a bank transfer. Now, one of the other options here in South Africa, and indeed across Africa, there is a problem with the underbanked. In order to get a bank account, you need to go in with proof of address. If you're living in a shack on a corner amongst other shacks, there is no proof of address. You don't necessarily have something that you can take to the bank. Africa, for the last 10, 15 years has led the way with digital payments via mobile phones. If you are interested in any of that at all, have a look at Kenya and what they did with M-Pesa, M-P-E-S-A. M-Pesa is a platform where you can just send money from cell phone to cell phone. Why is this important? There's a heck of a lot of people in Africa who live out in the hills. They don't live in towns or cities or close by any particular friends or relatives. They still need to eat, and they might rely on other family members to get that money. With digital payment platforms on cell phones, that money can be instantly wired to them. They can head to the shop and digitally wire it to the store owner as well. We're anticipating that amongst the South African musician community, there's going to be a substantial number of people who are underbanked. How do we get them their money? With a smart contract, we can help trigger payments from M-Pesa. And our angle is trust and transparency. Our CEO, who I need to keep, for reasons that will become evident very shortly, I need to keep her nameless right now. Actually, if you go and check out the Project Catalyst application, you can actually see her details. Our CEO is a lawyer specializing in contract and PR law. One of the things that we can make sure is that these people get the money that they need. When she first came on board, she was wondering, well, how do you deal with the people who don't necessarily want a contract to be unbroken? And our position is, you go to the people who need it. And that's the lower level people who are potentially fraudulently, they have money fraudulently taken from them, contracts that are arcane and mystical, and they don't necessarily understand what's going on with each of these things. We can simplify that process, and we can show them your contract with us is on the blockchain. There it is. We can't alter it, you can't alter it, and there are your levels of protection. So that is our first proof of concept, and it's what we're going forward with. Our aim is to have 50 artists signed by September 1st. Once we get to 50, that gives us particular critical mass in certain areas of government, and we can do a heck of a lot more. Our second proof of concept is similar, but in a completely different field. Again, performance-based earners are sports people. Imagine any sportsman. If you don't like sport, I apologize, but pick a sports person that you like. Pick an older sports person, let's say Tom Brady, inside of the NFL in the United States. Tom Brady's well into his 40s now. Now, he's still performing, but a contract might have a whole bunch of performance clauses. You know, we don't want to risk paying you too much money because you might break down, you might get injured. What will then happen is the contract will have a mass of performance-based clauses. How long did you spend on the pitch? How many goals did you score? How many points did you score? How many errors did you make? The NBA, the National Basketball Association in America, spends $600,000 per annum per team on manual contract compliance. What does that mean? That means when a team walks off the court, somebody has to sit down and work out their stats. Now, we can throw that into an oracle. For somebody to actually manually check how many points did they earn, how many points did they score, time on the court, efficiencies, etc., for somebody to manually do that, and again, remembering from business intelligence, the moment you have a manual process, you open this up to errors. So our second proof of concept is with an actual sports team in North America. NDA rules mean that I can't say who they are. However, this is a team whose owner has been waiting for 3 years for smart contracts to be available. We are in a position to provide a smart contract service for the players of this national sports team. If that comes off, that particular owner actually has a seat on the board of the entire league. So with smart contracts, we can demonstrate that the moment the person walks off, we've already calculated their performance whatever their performance rates happen to be, we've automatically calculated and we can execute on payments. Again, we acknowledge the fiat versus crypto option as far as payments is concerned. That we need to negotiate with the players themselves. How do they want to do these things? But we can remove the redundancy of somebody manually sitting at a spreadsheet and figuring this out. So those are our two proof of concepts. One, the South African music industry and helping South African musicians get paid the money that's already sitting in the accounts, and going forward, making sure that there's an efficient way of them getting their royalties moving forward. And secondarily, a sports team. And it's a national sports team in North America. Can't reveal which league, can't reveal which team, but we have a direct contact through to them to be able to create this proof of concept. When you check out our Twitter feed, the Twitter account was only registered in March. I've placed a couple of tweets on there today purely in order to be able to do the sharing into the Cardano space. A tweet that I've just pinned at the top there talks about fraud as far as US sports people are concerned. Pro athletes have suffered up to $600 million worth of fraud. That could be from their contracts, that could be from signed memorabilia, could be any factor there at all over the last 15 years. Now, how that number is probably on the low side, and it's probably substantially low. The link, that graph that I actually listed there, is from an EY article, Ernst & Young, one of the global accounting and consultancy firms. Why is that number low? Because that's the number that's been admitted to. If you've been screwed out of $50 million, you wouldn't necessarily tell people, especially if you're a famous sports person. So we've got a position where we can help secure the contract. Now, it's important to note, we are not involved in the negotiation of this contract. That is between the player, and that is between their representatives and the team. We will be responsible for the implementation and execution of that contract. And like I said, we've been looking at this for 18 months from a music royalties perspective. And over time, it's just become more and more obvious that Cardano is the correct platform for all of this, particularly with Cardano's focus on Africa and South African musicians. Now comes the hyperbole part as to, well, why is the website very blank? There's not a lot there. Why is the Twitter account only a couple of months old? So the company, we did register last year. We've been in stealth mode since 2020. The reason is, when you're dealing with graft and corruption in South Africa, it's best to keep your head down. If we're about to step into a space and disrupt an entire industry of repayments of royalties, which is anywhere up to R1 billion a year, billion rand a year, divide that by 15, so you're looking at about 60 to 70 million US dollars. Now, that may not sound like a lot in a US dollar term. R1 billion rand is a massive number. That is life-changing numbers on a large scale in South Africa. What we're dealing with are people who are enriching themselves, and I'm going to provide one other link here, which you'll be able to see in the pinned tweet. So it's not just me spouting off about these particular numbers. There are many articles. This is an article that I've just highlighted from November 2021 that says that one of those organizations is sitting on over 500 million rand. And this is money that they know who the artist is, for which songs, but the artist needs to go pay. There are other facets as well in relation to South African music. South African music is actually was quite forward thinking when they developed their Copyright Act. You might have all heard stories of artists who sold the rights to their songs very early on in their career. And then that song goes on to be potentially a jingle, creates massive royalties for the copyright owner. In South Africa, it works a little bit differently. If an artist sells the rights to their song, they are still entitled to 50% of all performance royalties, because the South African government at the time, when they wrote that act, actually acknowledged that this sometimes does happen, that people sell the rights because maybe times are tough, or they're chasing the car and the mansion and the image. So to protect South African artists, an artist can still receive 50% of all royalties because they are the performer. And most South African artists do not know about that, which is why there are pockets of money sitting across all of the organizations in South Africa that collect royalties. Our goal is to be a one-stop shop. We have signed an agreement with the main data provider in South Africa that tracks over 120 radio stations. They're giving us the data so that we can prove the case when we go to get the money for these particular artists. Our business model will be taking a very, very small percentage of all the transactions that we will execute on behalf of the artists. We're not here to screw them even further than they've already been screwed. So, yeah, I think I would like to, first thing, again, thank you very much to the Cardano Over Coffee community for the opportunity to show. Only if you feel that this might be a cause that you would like to contribute to or you'd like to support, please, we could very much value your vote. If you want to reach out to me in any other way to think of how you might be able to contribute, we're happy to take this on board. We will be updating our Catalyst funding proposal with comments. We received a wealth of really good comments about where we were short on certain information in our proposal. So by all means, please reach out to us. We don't want to shill too hard. We want it to stand on its own 2 feet. The value proposition is there, and I'm happy to answer any other questions. And again, thanks very much to the Cardano Over Coffee team for letting me occupy your ears for a bit.
Yeah, me and Les had talked previously to him coming, so I don't have any questions. We talked over video chat, so I don't have any questions, but I'm sure there's a ton of them because what he's doing is pretty comprehensive and pretty in-depth. So definitely want to open it up to questions, but I want to ask Lido and TCT first if they have any, and Epoch.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, my first question would be like, is this, because you say you're using smart contracts, so would this be a non-custodial solution?
Correct. Yeah, we've done for the sports team in North America. We did one last year on Ethereum, just on their test net, but we've been migrating it across and are putting it together for Cardano because we've realized this is the way that we want to go. So we will go non-custodial.
Right. All right. Very cool. And so my next question would be like, because unfortunately, unlike Ethereum, we don't have an easy client wrapper. So
yes,
would you be running centralized servers to facilitate this?
That is part of the dev timeline. We've got our CTO. So me as the business dev guy, I don't have a direct answer for you right now. We do have our CTO and our lead dev in place looking at these options. We would welcome input from the community in this regard.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome because I think that's really important. I think that's like the most difficult thing, right? Like even building that multi-sig dApp, it's like there's easy options, right? Cardano,
yeah.
IOHK has a coordination solution we could have used. But to build something that's like not super centralized is so difficult. So yeah, the fact that you're open to like all the different solutions and input is huge in my eyes.
Our main so we're going with trust and transparency is our main point of call. Everything, because we're dealing with musicians who they really don't have a lot. And even 500, 1,000 Rand, which is maybe $50 to $100 can help make the difference here. So what we're very conscious of is, we can't mark our own homework no matter how easy that would be. we need to do this in the open space with arm's length from our data providers. Your data's going over to there. We'll draw your data from where you put it, etc. So we know that there's a wealth of knowledge out there amongst the tech space, especially amongst the Cardano space, to go, what is the best way for us to do this?
Yeah, the fact of being open, right, to that
Mhm.
type. Great. Lido, anything, Epoch, before I get the block chalk?
Can I just say again how huge that is? We see so many teams come in here, right? And they're like, "Oh, don't worry, we got it. We know everything, but we're not going to tell you." And really, it's because they don't know, and nobody does, right?
Yeah.
We all have these ideas, and we're going testing these different solutions. So yeah, I think just being open to like making sure you find the right solution is what I'm interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets terrifying whenever I see something in the space like this chain got hacked, this NFT platform got hacked, etc., etc. The whole point of open source was the collaborative nature of the community to be able to come in and make this thing the best thing that it can possibly be. We believe we've got a really good value proposition to help a whole bunch of people. The sports thing, we want to make our money on the sports thing. To be completely open and frank, sports people, they've got the money to help musicians, to help any other performance-based owner that might be screwed out of a contract, to have a collaborative nature for people to come in and say, maybe try this, suggest this, so that we can make that a trusted and transparent solution for those people. That's really important to us.
Yeah.
No question on my end here. I'm fairly in cahoots with Monsieur Les over there, tracking that project very closely. So let's get to the audience questions because we're almost out of time for this slot.
If I may jump in, anybody who is listening that does have a space that feels you might want to discuss this even further as well, please reach out to me. We want to spread the word far and wide.
AdaCafe.io has a lot of Twitter spaces that you want to come to.
Yeah.
I'm just plugging AdaCafe.io. Blockjock, go ahead. You were first, sir, and then Session.
Hey man, first off, I want to commend you for everything that you're doing, and the description you laid out as to the just atrocity that is the way people get paid for being a creative entity is just ridiculous to me, and it just kept going, and I realized just how important it is, everything that we're doing surrounding trying to empower a nation that does not have a government that has their best interests at heart. And it's very obvious, and all you got to do is, and I'm sure there's 1,000 different stories of that, just like what you laid out, having to do with just the artist itself, right? Absolutely absurd to me. And I'm not surprised that Lido is monitoring you as well, because he's very close to that, and that's why I absolutely love the guy. And I know for us, we are attempting to do the same thing with freeloaders, but ultimately, if we'd love to have you over in Cardano Tech Space to talk about it a little bit more. It's every day at noon with Santo and a few of us, and we talk a little bit more nuts and bolts. And also with me, I just philosophize the shit out of it. So that's my wheelhouse. But
let me clarify, Santo.
Yeah.
Santo and the other guys talk nuts and bolts, and Blockjock just sits there in awe.
I do, actually. Listen, I get super excited about things, but none of it I can actually create myself. I got to watch other people do it. So, which in some cases is a little frustrating, but I'm starting to learn a little bit here and there. But ultimately, you got to have a dreamer, right? And I guess I'm that person. And you, my friend, are that as well. I could tell. And obviously, we want to help those who don't have support within their own country to empower themselves. So. With that, I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing. We'd love to have you over in the space and talk about it further as well, and get the word out there as best we can surrounding your project.
Sir, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. If I may, yes, dreamer is a great term. You're an evangelist, sir. I know enough to format a hard drive badly. I know enough to get by from a tech space. I know enough to provide tech support to my old parents. What I am good at is distilling and spreading the word of what is a good thing that I believe in. So I would rather say, Blockjock, you're an evangelist rather than a dreamer.
Thank you, my friend, and we are kindred souls in that regard. I appreciate it.
Excellent.
Sessions.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My question is, so it sounds on the music side. So it sounds like you're just tracking performance royalties, right? Are you tracking other types of royalties, mechanical, sync, etc.?
That's excellent question. We will be, and this is where when I started expounding, there are 4 agencies in South Africa that track royalties. Thank you very much for the question, Sessions. There are 4 agencies. One tracks needle time. And when we say needle time, that is when a song is played on the radio or in a retail outlet. Secondly, there is an organization to track live performances. Now, the live performance means that the artist needs to submit a playlist. This is what I played. Thirdly, there is mechanical. There is an organization that tracks mechanical, and they're also making the claim to get into streaming. There is a 4th organization that tracks video royalties. So to be an artist in South Africa means you need to be a member of all 4 of these. The database that we're putting together, we have an industry person that we're working with to create the overarching database, which means we will know all of the track listings for each person. We can track their needle time through one data source, and then work with them to make sure that any live performances, we know what they played. So we can sit on them and actually advocate to them for what was played, rather than just going to the venue and say, you need to give us X% of whatever your turnover was for this event. So yes, we will be tracking more than just needle time royalties.
I wanted to be clear to the audience that might not know what these types of royalties are. You know, a performance royalty is a royalty that an artist gets for songs that are played on the radio, Pandora, a source where the listener didn't choose, right? Radio, they didn't choose to play that song. A mechanical royalty is one where they actually did choose, right? They bought that song or they chose to stream that song. That's a mechanical royalty. And a sync royalty is a royalty applied to music that is used to overlay over video, right? So you're talking about YouTube, you're talking about commercials, advertisements, and whatnot. So it's very different. What you're proposing to do is what ASCAP and BMI already do. You're just adding the smart contract element to it to, I guess, make it cheaper. But you're basically ASCAP or BMI, right? Is that fair to say?
In short, yes. The South African scape is a little bit is unique as opposed to other areas around the world. But in effect, yes, we want to be a sole point that if an artist comes to us, and please understand, this is a roadmap. We're going to be adding these functions in as our first target is the needle time royalties, and then we will be going after the other organizations as well to make sure that we cover everything. So it is a roadmap item, but yes, you are correct in the explanation. Thanks very much for expounding on it as well.
I have a follow-up. Why do you care? Why do you care about music and artists and South African artists getting paid? Why do you care?
This is actually, thank you, Sessions, because this, I keep talking about the hyperbole. It's very easy to have someone killed in South Africa. It's 3,000 Rand, $600. That'll get you 50 bullets. We're about to deal with organizations who over the last 10, 15 years have been taking a lot of money and enriching themselves at the benefit of artists. Our CEO at our first team meeting sat down and put that into perspective to the founding members, saying, this is what's potentially possible. You want to start messing with hundreds of millions of rand that are going in different directions. Are you sure you want to do it? And it's the right thing to do. One thing that I express with every artist that we speak to is I'm not interested in your songs. They're your songs. I know what I like. What you sing and what you play is not necessarily the thing that I like. But you earned that money. You made that money. That money is due to you. And it's yours. And yeah, it sounds trite, Sessions, but it's the right thing to do. And yeah, that's why we've had to stealth for so long. The fact that we're applying to Project Catalyst means we now have to step out into the open a little bit earlier than what we wanted to. Hopefully nobody in those industries actually is Cardano focused and tech focused and still doesn't know what we're doing. But in effect, Sessions, it's the right thing to do.
So thanks, Les, for coming on. Well, we ran a little over since we started later.
Sure.
But we do have another guest that is scheduled. We're just going to be respectful of that time. I see your hand, but maybe you can reach out to Les.
Feel free to send a message that I'll happily answer. Anybody send a message. Thank you very much again for your time, and I'll step off. And best of luck for next speaker.
Sounds great, and you can be part of the conversation. You don't have to step off unless you have to leave. Who's gonna do our quick mini mid-roll, Hero, before we get to our next speaker?
We're at the middle of the show, right? And if you're enjoying it and you like our time, please retweet the show out. Get more people in here. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 11:30. We normally have 2 guests who are building on Cardano, and you're more than welcome to come up and ask them questions after they do a small presentation. We believe in decentralization here at Cardano Over Coffee. So if you have your ADA on a exchange, move it off of said exchange and stake it to a stake pool. Earn your 4 to 5% a year. Lido has a pool. Hero has a pool. Epoch has a pool. Rand down there has a pool. I have a pool. TCT doesn't have a pool. Linda has a pool. Santo Node down there probably has a pool. Lots of people have pools. Stop supporting Binance and KuCoin and Coinbase. Support the people in the ecosystem by staking to a stake pool. How was that, Lido?
That was beautiful. I'm just going to do a quick palate cleanser to cap out our first speaker. And here is my random quote. That royal essence in your character doesn't come from money. And with that...
That's a good one.
Thanks. We will move on to our next guest, who also has a catalyst proposal. I've heard him speak all but 3 times, so I know very little, except that his team also has an ambitious project. Go ahead and introduce yourself, how you came to be here, and share with us what you came to share with us today.
Hey everybody, my name is Ninh. Super excited to be here. This is actually my first ever Twitter space. I feel like a caveman if this has been going on for a while, but
9
totally
months.
9 months. Okay.
I've been here every day for 9 months, and this is your first time. I'm glad you're here.
Yep. Thanks so much for welcoming me. I'm pretty new to the Cardano ecosystem and community as well. About 2 months ago, my team has decided to, after a lot of research, to really join the community and start building on Cardano, because we realized how much research went into all of this, that there's so much peer review, from DeFi to gaming to data storage and on and on and on. And it's only blockchain with proof of stake, with evidence-based methods. And like the other speaker mentioned, there's so many hacks happening on Ethereum and other chains that if we want to build something that engages the broader industry and Fortune 100 companies to donate their money to fund the open source ecosystem, we need to build on something that's super secure. So I didn't know that when I joined that the Cardano is really a blockchain of impact. I've met so many amazing people, including like Nori Nishigaya, Kendrick Nelson, Allison, so many people in and out of town halls, after town hall breakout rooms, and even during the Idea Fest. That's how I met Darlington, and that's how I got to be there. Yeah, what a tragedy. So we have two proposals in the Catalyst, in the Cardano Catalyst, and how that came to be was 2 years ago. I was extremely fortunate to put about 938,000 people in tech jobs with the help of the whole recruiting and hiring community, especially a lot of Fortune 100 companies like Facebook, Google, and Amazon. They were all our clients in my last startup. But when we looked into the data, I saw that the diversity was less than 13%. And I'm talking about ethnic diversity, gender diversity, disabilities, neurodiversity, veteran status, age, education, and so on. And I thought to myself, we can do much better. We can do so much better. I discussed with a lot of my friends, a lot of recruiting leaders in the space and hiring leaders, what could be the causes and the challenges that are blocking underrepresented people who are self-taught engineers from landing a job, because inherently you need opportunities to gain experience in order to get more opportunities to gain experience. And they told me, Ninh, I looked at the data, and coding assessments tend to disqualify people of color, underrepresented self-taught engineers, 50% more often than others. And I asked myself, wow, that's why is that? And we all thought, well, historically, it's not that underrepresented engineers or families don't send their kids to study science, or that Udemy and Coursera are not available, e-learning resources are not available online for anyone to just tap into and learn. But it's that when you do go to school, you go to schools that don't have the resources to teach you how to pass coding tests, beyond teaching you how to earn your degree, right? And if you do take the online courses and you complete the projects, hiring managers, they don't care as much. They don't look at the classroom project that you've done. They want to see real work experience. I talk to a lot of job seekers and I hire all the time, and they tell me, Ninh, I love that your entry-level jobs are truly entry-level. They don't require me to have 2 to 5 years of work experience for an entry-level job. And because of that, I decided to build a assessment and hiring platform called Snapbrilla that offers a balanced assessment and is more inclusive and rated properly. Assessments in themselves, they don't test your real skill. There's so much that is ignored completely. They just test what if a person actually studied code, right? But after a while building this, we have a couple companies that really need assessments, and they're hiring like crazy, and they use it. However, we also found out that everybody hates assessment. Job seekers hate assessment, hiring managers hate assessment, recruiters hate assessment, and inherently it's used to filter people out. It's not used to give people opportunities. And so, we decided to build something new on Cardano. That's the two proposals. One is mentor-mentee bounties and e-learning, and the other one is open source quadratic fund matching, funding and voting. I am gonna tweet the links right now on my Twitter. Not sure how it works. So yes,
so
once you got it.
Once you
Yeah,
tweet them, at the very bottom right hand corner of the tweet, if you click the little half box with the arrow pointing up, it'll say Cardano at the coffee right at the top of that. You click that and it'll pin it to the top so everybody can just look at the top of the space for the tweet.
Gotcha. It doesn't say that.
I can tweet. I can go and
okay.
I'll go to yours and tweet it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And so the first I want to talk about the mentor and mentees, right? Inherently, here's a huge problem that we also discovered, right? 375 million people will quit their jobs in the next couple of years. And that's global, right? 20 million have already quit their jobs in the US alone in the last 6 months. People are burning out. Everybody's burning out, right? You have cashiers burning out, teachers burning out. They have to deal with kids and parents, and they're not being paid enough. You have open source developers burning out, especially them, because open source suffers from something called tragedy commons. Essentially, it's open source is a public good. It's being overconsumed, underfunded, and the common pool of resources, time, energy, developers is just being depleted, right? People are not just quitting, but they're sabotaging their own projects. When people are burning out, they want to change and they want to do something else, especially if you're not in tech. People want to get a better job. They want to break into industries such as tech. But when they do, as job seekers, we face many different challenges beyond the 2 years of experience entry-level job that most companies require, right? Once you kind of pass the junior level and you become a senior contributor, like you're hot stuff. The market's super hot, depending on where you are, and you can get a job within a month, right? Or even less. My wife is an engineering leader, and she gets emails and in-mails, probably 50 of them a day. However, the job searching journey really sucks. A lot of blockers, a lot of challenges. Inherently, companies don't trust job seekers and their resume. Right? Anyone can just edit their resume or even a LinkedIn profile. And this is a huge opportunity for us to do some good and for Cardano to have a lot of impact and to grow. Our goal is to get 1 million underrepresented people in tech in the next couple of years. And with the help of the Cardano community, where I've met some amazing people, they're like the Catalyst community, especially, it's a community of innovators, of movers and shakers, whether you're a sales guy or engineer or teacher or researcher, designer, or just a person, a human, a fellow human, right? Everyone there is about doing something good and building something for the future, not just for themselves, but for the generations to come. I've never seen a community so passionate and so welcoming and embracing. It reminds me of the recruiting and hiring community. First, when I launched my last startup, and with those two, I can see the future. I can see that we can build a platform that gets millions of people who normally wouldn't get into tech and blockchain and Cardano to get on it. Right.
So what is your platform actually going to, like, what are you trying to build? Like, I understand kind of now what the problem is. How are you going to solve it with these proposals?
I was just gonna do that. So we're building a platform that funds open source bounties, hackathons, and workshops, right? And connect funding not just from individuals like you and me, where we can vote with our wallet, essentially similar to Catalyst, but also have a quadratic fund matching from uh, institutional funds, bigger companies, big organizations with money, so that when we donate, like a dollar can become $5, $10, and one ADA can become five ADA, and 10 ADA because of this quadratic voting, funding and matching, so that people who are already contributing, experts and leaders in the open source space, they can get incentivized. They don't burn out, and they can keep contributing. And not only that, but also to build teams and mentor newcomers, right, to take on these bounties, where for them it's a huge opportunity to get help, to give back, right? Why would people give back? Well, simple. We have created a double-sided incentive system where everything is written on the on-chain practical resume. Mentors will be recognized for not only being able to complete big projects by themselves, but to lead teams to complete projects by themselves. When you guys think about diversity, equity, inclusion in tech, women have glass ceiling, the proverbial glass ceiling, and that's not just for women, right? It's just universal. So we want to help people break that glass ceiling, whether they're junior or senior, right? To be able to showcase, yes, I have leadership capabilities, I have project management capabilities, and I can mentor people. I can be a good manager, right? I work well on teams. And for mentees, for people who are new to tech, whether they graduate from a lot of our partners like Yoma Foundation that does stuff all over Africa, or Carter Shift that teaches youth in Europe and Africa as well, or the European Business University that teaches um, uh, teaches students in Latin America and across Europe, right? For those developers that are just minted, newly minted developers, to be able to get more hands-on projects and build real experience on real projects, get access to mentorship, get free access to resources, and build their on-chain practical resume, which is open source, secure, and a trusted proof of reputation, something that they have that's tangible towards their financial freedom. From our experience, running this mentor-mentee platform and program internally, we've seen that developer environment setup usually takes a week, if not more, depending on what stack you're in. And it's a huge blocker to collaboration. That's why we're building a powerful workstation in the cloud to accelerate this collaboration and increase developer productivity. In the past 4 months, we helped 45 mentees land jobs in tech at Amazon, Microsoft, General Motors. These are people who 9 out of 10 are completely new to tech. They're self-taught or underrepresented or both, right? With about 60% success rate. They come to us not knowing back end from front end, and by the time they spend working with us on projects and bounties, they become professional, real developers. I have an awesome team of people. 3 co-founders. Frank is the guy that got us on Cardano. He leads our blockchain team, which has about 8 developers. Beatrice, she has a ton of experience being an engineering leader and a lot with nonprofits. She leads our full stack team. And James, he's a Techstars alumni. He built a peer-to-peer lending platform a couple years back, and he leads the product design and leads the team that builds the ID. We have about 20 engineers, 15 product designers, and we're 100% committed to solving this real problem and getting people in jobs. See, talent is universal, but opportunities are not. And my personal strength is to build partnerships, sell to big enterprise companies, and get funding partnerships to build the open source ecosystem with money that's donated and quadratically fund match for open source projects. That money can help create bounties. Bounties will create opportunities. Opportunities will create more opportunities. We will empower mentors to form teams to become better mentors, and mentees to become mentors simply by doing and watching others do, right?
Yeah,
Leading by example.
I have just like two kind of burning questions that are on my mind.
Yeah.
The first one is, why blockchain? And I understand, like, why are we doing this in the blockchain world, right? What's the importance of blockchain here? Well, technically, I guess it's three questions. Second, kind of tell me how much your proposals are for and what that funds are going to be used for. And then third, what happens if you don't get funded?
Sure. Why blockchain? Good question. Fundamentally, right, there's inherent mistrust between the hiring manager and the job seeker, right? Because, like I mentioned, like if you want a job, you are likely gonna hustle in interviews, right? Everybody edits their resume. So in order to really fix hiring, fix opportunities, right? And also just fix the way people vote and fund, right? To get more big money, whales, institutions to fund match, to donate their money to build the open source Cardano. We need to build this on blockchain, right? Something that's immutable, something that people cannot just edit when they're applying for different jobs, something that hiring managers can trust, and something that job seekers own, and it's theirs.
Makes sense.
Yeah. The second one, you asked for funding
Kind
amount.
of break down to what you're asking for and what those funds are going to be used for.
Yeah. So we have two proposals. The quadratic voting and funding is for $112,000, right? That portion goes mostly towards developers and hiring development team. We have like two really senior Web3 developers. They're familiar with the Cardano stack, which is Haskell, Plutus, Marlowe, and Prism. But they need help, right? They need more professional help, as well as building out the IDE to support Haskell, Plutus, and Marlowe for people to completely skip all the setup steps and requirements, because it's on the cloud, it's in the browser. And of course, this IDE is super resource heavy, right? I think we're already paying a couple $1,000 just to deploy it on AWS, right? So cloud hosting, and beyond that is transaction fees, as we on Cardano, as we're planning to scale and get and invite a ton of mentors, and through these partnerships, a lot of students on our platform. We have partnership with my last company, Hire Easy. They have a database of 840 million professionals with their contact information, emails, whatever. So we plan to scale this very, very quickly. All we need to do is to build it. The other side, the mentor-mentee platform, we're asking for $90,000 USD, and it's the same. Dev transaction fees for people to be able to learn, engage in bounties right on their on-chain practical resume, cloud hosting. Yep.
I'm sure you have that right in the proposals when I go to look at them, I would assume too.
Yep. It's all black on white.
Nick, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just kind of curious to elaborate on the kind of like blockchain storage of, I guess, like, reputation from jobs. You said it was something that can be trusted by employers, but owned by like the employees or the people. So how does that information get edited? Isn't it the employers who would edit and vouch for things? And if so, how is the person owning that information then? Or how does that work
Yeah,
exactly?
great question. So we're trying to implement a decentralized immutable on-chain practical resume with full interoperability with Atala Prism. That's how the job seeker would own this immutable on-chain practical resume. It functions as a CNFT with write and update access from approved, whitelisted, and reputable organization verifiers, as you may call them. We can be one of the verifiers, right? Of, hey, this job seeker, mentor, mentee, they joined this bounty and they completed it and gotten the reward, or they just joined and they created a pull request, was rejected, but they did contribute, 10%, 5% of the code. So in that way, we really eventually want to build a practical resume DAO, right, to manage these validators or organizations that should be reputable, right? And we see ourselves as really one of the spokes in a hub-spoke distribution paradigm for the on-chain practicable resume compostable NFT, right? And to be one of the verifiers, one of the company in itself is the issuer, and the job seekers are the holders. Yeah. This is really serving as a proof of reputation protocol that's difficult to fake or alter, right? Think about, as a developer, if you get a job somewhere, right? They usually have you sign confidentiality and NDA agreement. So the only proof of your work is probably on your resume that people can edit and do edit from time to time. And, especially for entry-level job seekers, people load their resume with keywords and skills. In this way, we can write, okay, this person worked on this Monty, it had this frameworks, this languages, he did well, or finished second or third or whatever, right? Or was paid, and they earned this much for contributing to open source projects. They started last May, and now they are earning $5,000 a month, or 3,000 or $1,000 a month, depending on the person. Or that this individual has a 5-star peer rating from their team members and is excellent on any team.
So, just so I understand, is this system one that you would think would be used exclusively within your bounty mentor-mentee sort of program, or is like the goal here like world domination, all companies use it? And second, there's obviously a lot of privacy concerns with people putting information like that up on the blockchain. Reputation systems in other countries have gotten a lot of scrutiny, and there will always be dispute resolution in terms of, oh, that project went well. Someone says, no, it didn't go well. So like, what are the kinds of big answers to those like really hard societal sort of questions as well? Have you all thought about that yet? Or are you thinking more just about the base technology so far? And thank you for answering my questions.
Yeah, totally. Great questions, actually. We're standing on shoulders of giants. When you think about any societal question like this, actually, right now we're designing and trying to figure out how does SSI and DID interact with our Web2 product, right? The clear direction for us is designing with privacy in mind, with full interoperability with Atala Prism. We partner with Roots ID to create the DID wallet. The NFTs right? We'll let the job seekers to see if they want to mint the CNFT, where it makes sense. Whether if they're successful in a bounty, right, then it's always mint. But otherwise, you probably don't want to put everything on your resume either, right? When you join, you didn't contribute anything. It's a flop. Obviously, good reviews, critical reviews should be written there. Think about resumes. If people had like real references on the resumes, that's huge. This is completely open source, by the way. So the goal is community-driven world domination, right? Um, because I believe in transparency, security, and auditability, especially if we want to chase like huge companies, like Facebook, like Amazon, because they are the biggest employers, like, whether we like it or not. Right?
I like
Yeah.
open source community world domination, Nick. That's what we're aiming for.
That's right. And on that note, right, it's not just money that we need. Funding, Darlington, you asked me, funding can or can't happen. We're doing this anyway. I actually learned about Catalyst after we decided to go on Cardano. And the community is amazing. And I thought, well, let's put the proposals in, get people involved. Because this is something that we all can relate to. Everyone was a job seeker at some point. All my engineers and founders, they're self-taught engineers, right? So they get it. They get that you don't have to go to school to learn skills, but you need to have real hands-on projects and a mentor to speed things up for you. Everyone should have opportunity for a better life, for decent work, and to be able to contribute in whatever way they can, right? Regardless of how they're born, rich or poor, whatever gender, race, ethnicity, skin color. I think that's universal.
Yeah.
Hello everyone.
Baccarat, did you have a question for them?
Yeah, I have a question because of like how this saying how the world is going right now. It's getting so hard, especially like Gambia right now. Yeah,
I'm sorry. This is about the fourth time I've heard you come into a room and tell me about how you're having a hard time in trying to collect money from people. I'm sorry about your situation, but not the place. Sorry about that, Mr. Tran. So if you can just kind of give me a brief rundown, where can I go to find out more information about you, the project, and get more involved? Because like you said, you want to get the community involved.
Yeah, if you're a developer, we have the quadratic voting and funding is now open source. We started building that and actively contribute. Hit me up. I'm on Telegram, Ninh Tran. I'm on Idea Scale, also Ninh Tran, first name, last name, NINHTRAN. Snapbrillia is, you can come check out our website, just Google it, you'll find us. We have our Twitter. You can ping me and DM me on Twitter. On Idea Scale, just look up mentor-mentee bounties and e-learning. And on the other side, just look up open source quadratic voting funding. Thank you guys so much. Super excited. This was, again, my first Twitter space. And thanks so much for your time and attention.
Yeah, no, thank you for taking time out. Did anybody have any questions for him before we let him go? No? Looks like you might be off the hot seat. You're lucky.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming out and taking the time to talk about your project. I'm going to do some more research in what you're doing, and I'll make my decision on voting one way or the other when the time comes. But definitely nice to hear about all these projects, so I appreciate you coming. Otherwise, I would have never heard about it, and I probably wouldn't have voted on it. So. Blockjock, you didn't have anything? Nothing?
Yeah, I'm like trying to get all this work done at the same time I'm listening. I absolutely love what they're doing though, and it totally vibes with what Freeloaders is doing. And as long as we're empowering people that otherwise don't feel like they have a voice, or they're afraid to use it, or whatever the case may be, I'm totally down with supporting it. So anything on our end, as far as token distribution or anything like that that we could do for you guys, we're absolutely down for that.
He said the magical words, right? Open source. Once you say that in like the blockchain world, people's ears perk up.
Big time.
I'm surprised TCT wasn't all about jumping over open source. Oh my God, open source.
Well,
he's
so,
wrestling gators right now, man.
No. I mean, I could ask a question. I mean, it sounds amazing. It sounds like something, I would love to see. It sounds like a really large problem. And to start out with such a large undertaking, have you thought about or have you looked into, and are there any similarities between some of these open source initiatives we see today, like Gitcoin or Giveth? I know those seem more focused to a specific blockchain, and the right, okay, and you seem to be more focused on like the entire open source community. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We, Frank and I, we don't have any association with Bitcoin, but we took Bitcoin as an inspiration, right? But not just. I think on Cardano we can implement natively Bitcoin and Cardano. I already explained reasons why Cardano, right? Why blockchain. But really to focus that energy to fund the open source ecosystem even further, get big companies involved, and drive hundreds of millions of dollars, right, for people to build the public good for everyone. That's pretty much like when I hire for our blockchain team, people keep telling me, yeah, I want to learn about blockchain. I want to get into Web3 because it's like the internet. I don't, of 30, 40 years ago, right now, right? I want to build the next internet. I don't want to build the next app, right? Or a website. I'm like, okay, awesome. We'll teach you. We'll get you in. You learn Haskell, Plutus, and Marlowe. It's going to be tough, right? But you'll have access to mentors. And that's something that I think Bitcoin is missing, right? To really focus what they're doing and all the funding and activity towards something that's good and that creates more opportunities and help people not only change their lives, but eventually my ultimate goal is, for the 1 million people underrepresented that get into tech, they learn, they do their own thing, they build their practical resume, but one day they're gonna quit, right, and build something that's closer to their communities, what they care about, right, and start solving real problems locally. Because when you think about startups and tech companies, right, they get rich and they grow and they provide opportunities. All that is good, right? But when you also think about underrepresented communities, they're still, in the proverbial slums, right? They're still there. They're still poor. There's not a lot of change there.
Yeah.
So we need to empower people that came from those places that eventually find their own passion to give back, and they need opportunities to start.
Awesome. Chuck.
Yeah, so the one question I would have for you is that if you haven't developed a roadmap yet, I would suggest that you do so. It's obvious what your ethos is, and it vibes with a lot of people in Cardano. The only problem is that there's a very limited resource of people who actually know how to build and do things, and in some cases, it's very hard. to get those on board. And then when you get them on board, you need to keep the ball rolling, and because you can lose them as well, because there's so many different projects and everybody's looking for the one that's going to, help them personally as well as help others. And ultimately, you've got to have a little bit of insight in that regard. But I do appreciate what you're bringing, and I look forward to the things that you do in the future. If you'd like to DM me, I'd love to be able to discuss further just what you're doing and what your plans are, and maybe we could brainstorm a little bit too, because I am one to be a bit of a futurist and a dreamer, and I want to make these things happen, but it always takes other people to do that, and you need to learn how to engage them.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So one thing that he said is, curing local problems, and I have a local problem right now. I need some pizza in my life. So if anybody wants to cure that problem for me, that would be great.
Pineapple and anchovies, right? I know your favorite, pineapple and anchovies for sure.
Listen,
I got you.
I'll take some pineapples, but them anchovies, I don't know who be putting fish on their pizza.
It don't make no sense to put anchovies on that damn pizza. What's the matter with you?
Like, no sense whatsoever.
Hey,
So
you may want to open source that problem.
Nice. There you go, right there.
Let me open source. I thought I was by announcing my problem. So thanks for coming out and answering the questions, man. And I look forward to digging into your proposals and taking a look at what you're doing and following along.
Thank you.
Hero, you pin those to the top, what he's doing? Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, they're both
right,
both of them are in a tweet up top. What up, Tommy?
Oh, man, not my blood pressure, let me tell you. How are you this morning?
I'm good. I try never to let my blood pressure get up because whatever it is will pass.
That's right. I wake up, I get excited, I start drinking coffee, and then it's all cruise control from there on out. I really like listening to what everybody was talking about, and I wanted to thank Ninh for coming up, man. If this is your first time, welcome. What really got me to jump up was the whole roadmaps conversation, because I have mixed feelings about that. I feel like if it depends on what kind of project you are and what kind of direction you're headed. Sometimes just kind of like check marks or with those little goals per quarter, I feel that's maybe a more effective range. I don't know, but I've known a few projects that have, including ourselves, I think kind of got a little over ambitious with like thinking where we're heading and how soon we're going to get there. And, it's what you put in pen kind of stays out there. And, we are all judged by what we tell people. So, but past that, man, like I said, I want to say thank you. Say hi to Block Jock. I know we're in the middle of Catalyst proposals and all of us, man, this is fun. It's just fun being in here with everybody. So thank you.
That's right. Tommy, I love your energy, dude.
I think being part of the Cardano community is probably one of the most fulfilling, and I don't know what the other word would be to me. Is like it's fulfilling to be up here every day with all of you guys that come and hang out. And I learned so fucking much. Like the knowledge that I've gained in the last 9 months of doing this show is unbelievable, right? Just I knew nothing about DeFi, and now I feel like I know a little bit. I don't think I know it all, but and that's from hanging out in here, right? So I appreciate everybody here.
Hey, Hero, can I give everybody a little bit of a notice on something that we're doing with freeloaders? Is that all right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Ready? Go.
Okay. So freeloaders is doing a.
No, they're not. He's lying. Go ahead. You can continue. Sorry, I had to get it in for the day, though, brother.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. So we need peeps for the testnet. However, we're going to be whitelisting people into the testnet because it's going to require you to use test ADA in your wallet, and you need to be staked to 2 particular pools that we have set with your test ADA. So with that, we will be taking on applications, I guess, in essence, volunteers. We want 2 levels. We just want the end user like myself, who's just going to go in there and go, how come this button doesn't work? Or how come I can't do this? And it's because you're doing it wrong, right? Or whatever. But we need that, right? And then we need those who are a higher level, understand the back end and what's actually happening when you're pressing the button in the front. Both of those will be given FLZ tokens at the end for their efforts. And we start this May 1st is when we're looking. I'll pin something at the top for it, but we are looking for testnet peeps. Thanks, Hero. Appreciate it, man.
Anytime. And the mute's out of nothing but love.
I got that, man. I absolutely love it. It's like a warm hug when you give it to me, just so you know.
Did you miss it yesterday when I wasn't here?
I did. I'm like sitting there in the meeting and I'm like, I wonder what's going on in Cardano Over Coffee. No joke. And we're talking about a lot of serious shit. I'm seeing a demo of our platform. It's exciting stuff. And then at the same time, I'm thinking about what's going on in Cardano Over Coffee. It's
That's
really
right.
quite funny, but I love you guys.
We love you too. Well, yeah, we do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
So we got like 1 minute. So who wants to shill what they're doing? You got 1 minute to come up here and shill. It's a free 1 minute shill. Ready?
I need 30 seconds.
Okay, go.
All right, welcome everybody. My name's Tommy Hawaii Collins. I'm with Carnivilla. In case you didn't know, we're doing a digital marketplace where you can come and advertise your product or your project or your ideas inside this market space. Now, if you'd like to check it out, go on over to carnivilla.com, CARNIVILLA.com, and hit up me or Chris, and we'll be happy to engage you. Have a great day.
Nice show. When metaverse, though. No, I'm kidding.
I love that, man.
Yeah, right now it's connected to Ethereum and Polygon. We're trying to get ADA in there. We don't have any devs that can actually code.
Well, look at that.
I know, but I'm in the right spot. I'm not worried, and we'll probably get funding this round or the next, or, things are happening. We are optimistic and forward focused.
You have a proposal for Catalyst?
Yeah, we do. Carnivilla, we put it in two different ones. One was upscaling Cardano community hubs, and I think the other one was business to business. So we threw them both pretty much the same in there.
So here's what I need you to do. You need to reach out to Kyd, Kyd, Juse, and then you're going to get a whole 30 minutes to come up and shill your proposals.
That sounds reasonable.
I think.
Thank you so much.
Truthfully, Tommy, seriously, because I'm trying to push people who have proposals to come and do this. People don't go to Idea Scale. I'm sorry. I'm going to trash Catalyst right now. No one wants to go there and look through 15,000 fucking proposals. Nobody in their right mind. So I'm trying to give a platform for people to come present like this. I think it would help drive Catalyst a lot more in this community, just from the amount of interaction that I see in Twitter Spaces and how the lack of interaction on Project Catalyst and reviewing proposals is.
100% agree with that.
So if you know anybody else who has proposals for Fund 8, tell them to reach out to Kyd Juse, and that's goes for anybody in the room. If you have a proposal for Fund 8, you're thinking about proposing for Fund 9, we're going to do it for Fund 9. Guess what? We're going to do it for Fund 10 too. So think about that. Shows are recorded. They're put on YouTube. You can take that and use it to whatever the hell you want. It's open source. My YouTube channel is open source. TCT, anything you want to finish up with today?
No, great show. Check out the ADAO's new multi-sig DApp roundtable. Shout out to all the wallet teams for making sure that we can use all the different wallets to sign and send transactions from it. And no, great show. I'm really interested in both of the projects here today. Usually I zone out for most of it, but I was listening.
Not gonna lie, I usually do too, and I'm the one leading the ship most of the time. So very, very interesting today. So
hey, TCT's pretty humble though. That is a big deal, that multi-sig thing that they did, the roundtable. So congrats, dude. A round of applause, I'm sure, for everybody, and it was amazing. Way to go.